Hello guys, TavHD here, and today I'm going to be showing you this Xbox 360 that I bought a few years back for only £7 and I've never actually used it, so we're going to find out if it still works and if there are any problems with it, which would mean it had such a low price. Okay, so let's start by saying where I got this from. So in the UK there's a second-hand store called Cash Generator. In your country there's probably something the same. It's kind of where all people go to make money off their old phones and things. But in this particular store there's a clearance section in a kind of glass cabinet, and that's where they put faulty things, or maybe they just didn't have time to test them. And usually they've got low prices like this that was only £7, and if I remember correctly the label on it said that it was faulty because it was overheating. But then I had a conversation with the person that worked there and they said that they just make up what's wrong with the products, because if they make something up that sounds like it could be true, then people might be more willing to buy it. So that was kind of interesting to hear. So this Xbox might have something different wrong with it. It might overheat, or it might have absolutely nothing wrong with it. So now let's just take a look. So as we can see, it is an Xbox 360 Slim. It is the matte black one, not the gloss one that I have downstairs. It is in decent shape. There's some marks on here. There's some scuffing, that's some sticky stuff, and it does look like something's been spilt on it at some point in the past. So yeah, just there. So that might be the reason that it was being sold as faulty, but we'll probably never know. And then if we look at the back, we've got 3 USB, the Connect port, Ethernet, AV, HDMI, we've got optical audio, and then the power port there. As you can see, it is very dirty, but it has been in storage in my office for quite a while, but it was in quite bad condition when I got it as well. And if we look, I'm not sure if you can see, but in the vents they are quite dusty too. But overall this doesn't look like it's been treated that badly, so it should be working. So what I'm going to do now is just plug it in and we'll see if it even fires up. I know that when I did first get it, I turned it on and tried it for a few minutes, but I didn't really do any extensive testing to see if all of the functions worked. Like, I didn't see if the USB worked or anything like that. I don't know if the Wi-Fi works. All I really did was set up a quick account, but the old person's account is still on it, so I guess we can have a look in that as well. There it is. It'll display over there when I turn the wall on. Now let's see. Okay, it's making a noise. I've got a controller here. Let's turn this on. I believe it should be synced with it. It was the last Xbox 360 I used with this controller. So now let's just see if anything happens. Okay, as we can see, it is coming on and the TV says that it's 1080p at 60Hz, which seems fine for the HDMI output. So it's loading up now. This Ant account, which is the one that's being displayed now, is the person who originally owned this, I believe. And then this one is just an account that I quickly set up when I first bought it, and as you can see, I've got 85 points on that. I'm not sure how those have got on there because I don't remember doing that, but I guess we can see. But first let's go into the old person's account and see what sort of things they used to do. Now it says we're not connected to Xbox Live, but I think we're going to try that and see if we can get it to connect to the internet. Right, okay, so let's just see. We want to do wireless, so it's going to search for some wireless networks now. And it looks like this doesn't have wireless connectivity, or maybe if it should do, it's not working because it scans but then it doesn't seem to oh, it's coming up now. Let's connect to that. Okay, so I think it is going to connect. It's saying that it's going to test the connection. Yep, why not? So now we've just got to wait and see if it can connect to the internet. It's not like if it doesn't work I can get a refund, because they don't give warranties on any of the clearance things. Plus I've had this in storage for a few years, so even if there was a warranty it would have expired by now. But it seems to be connected. An update is required. Let's do that and see how it runs on the latest version. So I'm guessing that will take a while, so I'll come back then. Okay, the Xbox is back on now. It's been idling for quite a while, and just feeling at it, it doesn't seem to have got very hot at all. So turned it off there, but it doesn't seem to have got very hot, so I don't really think that it has been overheating. Well, not yet anyway, but I guess we will find out once we put a game into it and start to use it a bit more. Okay, so the first thing I want to do now that it's on is just look at what sort of games were played on this system before it was traded in at Cash Generator if it loads. And I forgot to say that this doesn't actually have a hard drive in it, so I believe it just has the internal storage, which I think is about 4 gigabytes. But I'm not too sure about that. But let's look at the achievements on here. So Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, Gears of War 2, and not many games were played on here actually. There was no achievements in Battlefield or in Grand Theft Auto 5, but it was played on this game. But let's just look in here. We got quite a few of the achievements on here. So it looks like this wasn't used that much for many different games really. Let's just try opening a few things here to see if it becomes unresponsive or anything, maybe to do with it overheating, or just to see if there is anything wrong with it at all. That didn't seem to want to open. Well, it all seems quite responsive really. When I press a button something happens, so everything there seems fine. So let's try putting a disc in and see if it will read it. Right, so for this test I've got the most graphically intensive game I've got here, which is Forza Horizon 2. That was on the Xbox One as well, but they had to downscale it to work on the 360. So I'm not sure, how well this will perform, but I guess we will see when this loads. So it's making quite a loud noise, but if I remember correctly, that's what these things do when it's reading the disc. Yeah, that is quite a strange sound. Well, this game seems to be loading fine right now. Yeah, it seems to be running smoothly on just this bit with the credits, but we can skip that and hopefully we can get into the game here. Just a saving content, and then I guess we'll see. You can see now it's come to the setup screen. Let's just agree all that. So it does seem to be reading from the disc just fine. We don't seem to be getting any stutter so far, but I guess we can see that when we get into the actual game. Actually, now I'm feeling it. That does seem quite hot. There is a lot of hot air coming out of the side, and now it seems to have stopped reading the disc, so we'll just have to see. It seems to still be loading though. There we go, the disc is reading again now, but that does seem to be getting quite hot now, so that might be a concern. Right, it seems to be loading the intro now. We're just gonna skip that for the sake of time. Then let's see if this works in the actual game. Okay, it seems to be starting now. I'm in control of it now. I am quite far away from it, so please excuse me if I crash, but this seems fine to me. Of course the graphics aren't the best because it is the 360, but that's as expected, but this game seems to be running just fine. I'll just play it for another few minutes to see if it crashes or anything, and then I'll come back to you. Right, I've just been driving for another few minutes. The game seems to run just fine. There's no problems with that, but my concern is the heat that is coming out of the side of here. It seems a lot hotter than my other 360 that I use quite regularly. At the bottom here, I'm not sure what components are down there, but that is very warm and it is heating up my desk quite a lot. So maybe in this case Cash Generator were right with the issue that this Xbox has, but yeah, that is quite hot. I've just played a bit more and it all seems stutter free. Everything in game seems to be fine. The Xbox is still working, so we're going to go out of that game now and I'm going to try opening YouTube and see if it can do that, but my only concern is the heat right now. Let's see if the drive opens just fine. So yeah, this does seem to be working, but let's go in and see if we can download an app. Okay, so let's go and download YouTube, see if it can communicate. We need to log into Xbox Live. Let's not do that. I'd rather not do that really, but let's just say that it does seem to work, because as we can see it is connecting to the internet to get these sorts of details. So that seems okay. It's running games fine. The disk drive seems to be okay, but yeah, the only thing does seem to be the overheating. But as long as we keep it in a well ventilated area, or maybe just replace the fan in it because that might be at fault, I think that this could work just fine. And considering I only paid £7 for it, I think that if I was to sell it I could probably make a profit, even if I did say it was overheating. But if I fixed that problem I could probably make more money from it. But another thing to mention is that it didn't actually come with a power cable. I've had to supply my own, so I'm not sure how they could have tested it without a power cable, but maybe they didn't test it, and I guess we will never know. Really, I think that's everything that I need to do in this video. I've come to the conclusion that Cash Generator was right in its diagnosis. This console does seem to overheat, not severely, it's fine, it just gets a little bit toasty, but it shouldn't cause any problems, and for the £7 I paid, I think I did get a good deal here. But can I recommend buying from this clearance section? Not really, because as they said, they do make up some of the labels saying what's wrong. So you might get one saying it overheats and then the disk drive doesn't work. But then you wouldn't be able to take it back because they don't do refunds. So I'd be very careful doing this, but for £7 I think that this was a fine thing to do, and it ended up being okay in the end. I'll probably use this Xbox up here in my office and keep the glossy one downstairs that I bought for £80 a few years back. So a bit of a difference in price, but they seem to perform the same way. So I think that's everything. Maybe we can do a video trying to diagnose what's wrong with this. Maybe we can open it up and clean it out and maybe replace the fan. And maybe I'll get a hard drive to go into it so we can save lots of things to it. Maybe a 300GB one, or maybe one like the 250GB one that's in my other one. We will just have to see, but that's everything for this video, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.